U.S. Copyright Office declares generative AI can't be protected by copyright. The requisite level of creativity is extremely low. It's basically saying if you make something with AI, you can't copyright it. This means a lot of good things and a lot of bad things.
I have mixed reservations on AI to begin with.
In the second part of its copyright and artificial intelligence report, the U.S. Copyright Office explains they began exploring copywriting AI material in early 2023. After numerous discussions over 10,000 public comments, they have drawn their conclusion. The U.S. Copyright Office cites the case of, get this now, Naruto versus Slater, where PETA attempted to argue a crested Macau owned the selfie it took of itself using a photographer's camera. The monkey did not win the case. They also cite Thaler versus Perlmutter, where the former failed to argue his creativity machine was the copyright author while he was the copyright owner. This sounds like madness. So a monkey grabbed a camera and took a picture of itself.
Oh, I don't even know.
I don't know. It just sounds like madness, doesn't it?
Yes,
It's silly as fuck, and people spend a lot of money taking this through court, and it set precedents. The Universal Music Group had denounced that the prompting user is no more an author than someone who tells musician friend to write me a pretty love song in a major key and then falsely claims co-ownership. Others had argued both and against how precise or numerous prompts would need to be considered copyrightable or not. The office concludes that given current general available technology, prompts alone do not provide sufficient human control to make user of an AI system the authors of the output, the U.S. Copyright Office declares. I can agree with them, but this is still some really gray area if you really get to digging into it.
yeah,
I mean, you don't own it, but does the people who made the computer or the software own it? But you make AI material and you can't copyright it for yourself. I can agree with that.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair because you're not really doing it. A computer's doing it, and it's gathering information from across the internet.
That
So,
also, unless the the people who you did the AI on and the people on the software or the computers that unless they can copyright it, it kind of makes it public domain. Then if indeed no one claims it, but I'm betting the people who own the servers or the software will be able to claim it, just not the person who put the prompts in to create it.
yeah,
In theory, AI systems could someday allow users to exert so much control over how their expression is reflected in an output that the system contribution would become rote or mechanical. The U.S. Copyright Office admits the evidence as to the operation of today's AI systems indicate that this is not currently the case, meaning there may come a time when you could put in such prompts to such a rate that there's enough of you put into it that you can claim it, but that is not the case with today's technology.
I have mixed feelings on AI to begin with.
Mine aren't so mixed. I would rather it not be a thing. Sure, it's a tool, helps people create quicker. I would just rather it not exist. I mean, yes, there's even practical applications that will help, I don't know, create cures and all this. But as far as art, whether it be music, whether it be digital art, whatever the case, as far as art, it should not be a thing, period. That's my take.
Well, for me, if you're using it as a tool to uh, to get ideas on what to create, that's one thing. Or if you're putting your stuff in the program for it to touch up, that's one thing. But if you're using AI to create a completed work that you didn't
Okay.
have a hand in at all,
Well, kind of on that, what you're saying. In other words, prompts may reflect the user's mental conception or idea, but they do not control the way that idea is expressed. The US Copyright Office summarizes this is even clearer in the case of generative AI systems that modify or rewrite prompts internally. That process recasts human contribution, however detailed it may be, into a different form. So they're saying whatever input you put into it, what's returned to you is different enough that you can't claim it as yours anymore.
yeah. I know I personally used AI to touch up some of my art pieces, and it did okay. You could still tell it was mine. I'm talking stuff like filters or whatever that, and putting prompts in and stuff like that to create backgrounds and stuff to get an idea of how I wanted it to be.
The fact that identical prompts can generate multiple different outputs further indicates the lack of human control. The US Copyright Office drills down. They then reiterated that sweat of the brow was insufficient and repeatedly revising prompts does not change this analysis or provide a sufficient basis for claiming copyright in the output. I could still agree with that with the technology as it is today.
Yeah,
Authorship by adoption also fails, as providing instructions to a machine and selecting an output does not equate to authorship. So I suppose they're referring to authors, writers, which I'm glad to see that. I don't want to see somebody write an AI written book. Oh, fuck off with that dumbass shit. Just
yeah, that
fuck
would be bad.
straight off.
That would be very, very bad.
Amid comments fearing protection of AI would stifle creativity. What? No, AI stifles creativity. And those arguing against special cases of copyright protection for AI, the Copyright Office has decided the case has not been made for additional protection for AI generative material beyond that provided by existing law. Okay, even in cases without AI, let's say modern video games, I see this often. I see them, you can see the tools in Photoshop, for example, in the game where they just go click. Okay, it's one color now. Click. There's a line through it. It's blended, and then like publish it, put it in that game. And I'm like, that's so fucking ugly. Why didn't you just like paint it with a light pen like they used to do, where it has detail, where it's not like you can tell it's some ugly ass pastel color with a swipe through it where you just click the blend button.
Yeah,